Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I will likely be discussing that in another video, but today we're going to be discussing Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered and the rumored reasons why it won't be coming out. Now, of course, I did do a video discussing this topic previously. Activision's official explanation as to why they did not want to release Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered is because they don't want to divide the player base, and instead, they plan to just keep adding old-school Modern Warfare Trilogy maps into Modern Warfare 2019 instead. But I think we can all agree that's a pretty horrible idea that makes zero sense. They're basically banking on the idea that they're going to make more money from bundle sales in Modern Warfare as compared to releasing a full remaster of Modern Warfare 2. They seem pretty confident in this decision, I might add, because most of you probably saw this, but if you haven't, Prestige'sKey recently made a video where he shows that there are currently over 230 paid bundles in the Modern Warfare store, which totals in at over $3,000. That's absolutely absurd, but then again, we're talking about cosmetic content in the store, and in my opinion, that's a much better system than locking weapons and maps behind a paywall like we've seen in previous years. I could probably make an entirely separate video talking about that subject, but instead we're going to just put that on the back burner for right now and discuss the recent news surrounding Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered. So according to the Gaming Revolution, which you guys I'm sure know this guy by now, I mean he's been giving us so much information about games that are coming out and leaks and rumors and things like that, according to him and his sources, the reason why Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered isn't coming out is because they made too many changes to it and the dev team isn't sure the community is going to like it. According to him and his sources, the game is made. It's been done for a while, but it's so much different than the original Modern Warfare 2 that they don't know if fans are going to enjoy the game whatsoever, so they decided, yeah, we're just not going to release it. I mean, the way the Activision described how they don't want to release the game kind of makes it seem like they're going to be releasing it at some point in the future. I mean, we're talking about a license to print money here by releasing a full remaster of Modern Warfare 2, but right now it seems like they don't want to do that, and it's either because the game is really bad, or because they're really banking on Modern Warfare 2019. Now, what baffles me most about this information is what could they have possibly done to the game? What could they have so drastically changed that the game doesn't feel good and they don't think the community is going to like it? I mean, removing one or two features is not going to fundamentally destroy the core experience of the game, in my own personal opinion. A good example of this would be back in the original Modern Warfare Remastered, they added everything from COD 4 into that game, right? Good things, bad things, it was all there, and I feel like if they were to have removed the Frag times 3 perk entirely, it wouldn't have ruined the game. In fact, I think it would have been made infinitely better, because playing against people who are just mindlessly spamming grenades across the map every time they respawn is really frustrating to play against. If the dev team for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, which I presume is Phoenix with the help of other studios, if that dev team decided to change up so much about Modern Warfare 2's design that they don't feel as though fans would be happy with the result, what could they have possibly done? Well, I think the best way to tackle this subject is to look at Modern Warfare 2 itself and see what could have possibly been removed or altered in one way or another. Looking at the core mechanics, the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer had a standard prestige and unlock system, but one thing that fans may not have liked in the remaster would have been the fact that back in the day, weapon camos reset upon prestige. The same thing was true in Call of Duty 4, and in 2016, when Raven Software released Modern Warfare Remastered, they changed up that system and made it so when you prestige, you still kept your weapon camos and your weapon camo progress, and I feel as though the vast majority of the community were just happy with this quality of life improvement. It wasn't something that ruined the game by any stretch of the imagination, so if they were to do that with Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered, I feel as though fans would be just fine with that. It is possible, however, that they decided to remove prestige mode entirely, like we see with Modern Warfare 2019. Maybe the plan was to take Modern Warfare 2 Remastered and just break it up into seasons, like with Modern Warfare 2019, but honestly, if that were the case, then the dev team would have to be huffing pain, because nobody would think that'd be a good idea. No one thinks it's a good idea in Modern Warfare 2019, and it would definitely not be a good idea for a remaster of Modern Warfare 2. People want their prestige mode back, they want the iconic prestige icons themselves, just bring back prestige mode, it's really that simple. Another theory is perhaps they messed around with map design, sort of similar to how Infinity Ward has been changing up old school maps with the new Modern Warfare game. The Modern Modern Warfare 2 maps are iconic, right? I think we can all agree on that. We have maps like High Rise and Terminal and Scrapyard and Favela. Everybody loves these maps. Then you have other maps like Invasion and Quarry and Skid Row, which were really good, but they aren't remembered like the super popular ones. But just in general, the overall map design in Modern Warfare 2 was really good. Infinity Ward seems hell-bent recently on destroying these classic maps by adding in extra doorways and windows and rooms and safe spaces to all of the remastered maps, so maybe it's possible that they were going to do the same thing with Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered. The simple answer to this problem is just don't do it. Right, just don't do it. Don't mess with map design, don't mess with layouts, don't mess with spawn systems or even lines of sight. The reason why people love these maps in the first place is because they're already good. There's definitely an argument to be made about Call of Duty overusing the use of remastered maps in newer games, but I've always been in favor of it so long as there is enough original content to go along with it. I see nothing wrong with remastering classic maps because when we get a classic map added to a newer game, we already know it's going to be good. Just because a map is new does not mean it's going to be good. So when they bring back an old map that the community loves, we know going into it that's going to be a good experience, unless of course they go the Infinity Ward route and completely change the map. What they did to Backlot with Season 3 is nothing short of a travesty. They completely ruined it. Backlot is one of my favorite maps of all time. In fact, I planned to do a video where I was going to count down the top 10 maps that were never remade in the Call of Duty franchise, and Backlot was going to be number 1. It's that good of a map in my opinion back in Call of Duty 4 and in Modern Warfare Remastered, but they finally bring it to Modern Warfare 2019. They add so many extra doorways and buildings and rooftops and an extra parking lot for some reason, and they just completely ruin the map. It's not even Backlot in my own personal opinion. But if they decide to not change up the maps like we saw in Black Ops 4 when they brought back maps like Firing Range and Summit, that's a great example of bringing back old school maps into a newer game, and fans just love it right away, and they continue to love it throughout the entirety of the game's life cycle. There's a reason why we all love Summit back in Black Ops 1. There's a reason why we love Firing Range back in Black Ops 1, and Treyarch understood that, and when they added them to Black Ops 4, they didn't change anything about the maps whatsoever, and that was definitely a good thing. So when it comes to remaking the maps for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, just leave them how they were, like you did with Modern Warfare Remastered, right? It's really that simple. If a map is proving to be especially problematic, because a map that was designed way back in the day with those same mechanics is maybe going to be a little bit different in 2020 with a new player base and a new Call of Duty community, if a map ends up being problematic, what they can do is make changes to it with a holiday event update, like Raven Software did with Beach Bog back in Modern Warfare Remastered. While yes, Bog itself definitely had some balance issues, especially in game modes like Domination, they left it all the same because that's what fans wanted with a remaster of Call of Duty 4. It was only with the Days of Summer event that they reimagined the map to have a summer beach theme, and then they altered the layout ever so slightly to make it a little bit more balanced. This was the best way to go about things, because if fans liked the new layout, great, because it was in the game and they could play it, but if you're more of a COD 4 purist and you want the original layout, that was also fine because the original map was still in the game and it was still in the map rotation. There is no reason to adjust the core Modern Warfare 2 maps in the remaster. Just leave them alone and fans are going to be happy. The next theory is perhaps they decided to adjust weapon balance, and I think this is one of the biggest debates amongst the Call of Duty community right now. Modern Warfare 2 was known for its really chaotic gameplay because everything was strong, right? If you didn't play Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, or even if you haven't bought it recently and decided to go back to it, the idea going into it was nothing can be overpowered if everything is overpowered. You had guns like the FAMAS and the M16 and the ACR and the UMP and shotgun secondaries that had insane ranges. Like, these are shotgun secondaries that have more range than shotgun primaries in all of the other Call of Duty games. They were insane. You had infinite range on light machine guns. Like, I believe, if I recall correctly, a stopping power RPD could two-shot kill anybody across the map. Does not matter what range, it was always a two-shot kill. Like, it was insanely good, right? And then you had Slave Hand Pro Snipe Rifles, which made quickscoping incredibly easy, and that's why the entire sniping community kind of formed back in Modern Warfare 2. All these things were just insanely good back in the day. The game had really powerful weapons, and it meant that the time to kill was really fast, and everything felt really strong, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sure, there were some guns that fell behind, like the F2000 and the Uzi, and in my opinion, the Vector, but that's okay, because every game is going to have guns that are a bit weaker than the others and have more niche uses, and there's nothing wrong with that. Weapon balance in Modern Warfare 2 was just fine. It was fine in 2009, and it's fine here in 2020 if you try to go back and play the game, assuming of course you can actually find a lobby, there is no reason to nerf the really strong guns or buff the weaker guns. The overall balance of the game was good. If anything needs to be nerfed, however, it would be the attachments, and one attachment specifically. So, if you did play Modern Warfare 2 for more than 5 minutes, then you know just how broken Danger Close grenade launchers are. They are literal nukes that you can keep in your pocket, and when combined with perks like One Man Army or Scavenger, players would essentially have unlimited explosives, and at times, it was downright game-breaking. I've said this from the very first time we discussed Modern Warfare 2 Remastered here on the channel. They would need to fix this system before that game was ever released. One-Man Army tubes would literally ruin the game in my opinion, because they were bad enough back in 2009 and 2010, but the community has evolved a lot since then. Call of Duty was still blossoming back in the day, it was still somewhat new, and the average player was horrible, and YouTube and Twitch weren't really things, and no one really had a great idea of what they were doing. If a power combination like One-Man Army, Danger Close, and grenade launchers were to be added to a game in 2020, that game would be literally unplayable within a couple of weeks once everybody leveled up and unlocked these things and realized how powerful they are. That being said, I'm still a bit of a purist when it comes to old school Call of Duty games, so I see no reason to remove grenade launchers entirely from the game, or One Man Army, or Danger Close, or even Commando. I just feel as though the One Man Army perk should not replenish grenade launcher ammo, and neither should Scavenger. It would still be the exact same core Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer experience, we just wouldn't have those degenerates sitting in the back of the map, spamming tubes infinitely onto your domination flag, making it so you can't capture it. And while that may be an unpopular opinion, I think the game would be a lot better for it. This is even the kind of thing they could test with a beta, right? Have a beta where it's the exact same experience that we had back in Modern Warfare 2, and then have another beta where they change around things like One Man Army tubes and even death streaks, right? The argument could be made that because death streaks were in Modern Warfare 2, they should therefore return for the remaster, but should they really? I mean, we're talking about getting a powerful buff just because you suck and died 4 times in a row. Like, how is that fair for the other player who's been playing well the entire game, and then you, because you died over and over, get a powerful buff that's going to help you kill that player? In my opinion, that should not come back in the remaster, but then again, that's the kind of thing they could beta test and see how the community feels about these changes, right? They could simply take community feedback like they do with old school RuneScape and how they were changing things about that, and then adjust Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered based on community feedback. I feel as though that would be the best way to go about things, but apparently they decided to change up so many things about the game that they're not even going to be releasing it, which really doesn't make sense to me. In my opinion, they had to have messed around with map design and weapon balance, because those are two things that they should never change, and if they do change it, then it's not even going to feel like Modern Warfare 2 anymore. If they absolutely have to change anything about the core gameplay, it should just be the changes that Robert Bowling wanted to implement over a decade ago. A quick history lesson for those who don't know, or maybe some of you that don't remember, back in the day, Robert Bowling, otherwise known as 402, was the community manager for Infinity Ward. He repeatedly told the community on social media that he was trying his best to get the dev team to fix the one-man army noob tube situation, but the dev team never made the change. This is likely because halfway through the Modern Warfare 2 lifecycle, over half of the original Infinity Ward team left, and they went on to form Respawn Entertainment and create the Titanfall franchise. Because of this, Activision and the remaining staff over at Infinity Ward were scrambling to rebuild the team, while also working on Modern Warfare 3. This is why Modern Warfare 3 was a co-developed game. It was made by Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games with some help from Raven Software, and this is also why Modern Warfare 2 basically saw no updates or changes during the second half of its life cycle. It's because the dev team simply could not put the time in to make changes to the game. That, or they simply didn't really care all that much, because again, we had no updates at all during the second half of that game's life cycle, with the exception of them fixing a couple of bugs, which it would take them forever to fix these bugs, and then of course they would release map packs, but those maps were already done before the game even came out. They were just spacing them out throughout the entire year. I have no doubt in my mind that if the original Infinity Ward team had not fallen apart, one, the newer Infinity Ward games would be a lot better, but two, I feel as though those one-man army noob tube changes would have actually taken effect, so they should consider adding those changes to Modern Warfare 2 Multiplayer Remastered. But aside from that, just poll the community about what other changes should be made. Should death streaks remain in the game? Should they possibly adjust commando? Should camos reset upon prestige? Should there be a new mastery camo like Exclusion Zone? Should they add a battle pass Pass and implement cosmetic content through the Battle Pass to get fans to continue to want to grind the game. These are the changes that they should be thinking about, not thinking about changing things like map design and weapon balance. I don't know how they could possibly mess up a remaster of Modern Warfare 2 so badly. Like I said earlier, releasing a full remaster of that game would literally be a license to print money, and I'm 100% certain it would net Activision way more money than just releasing bundle after bundle in Modern Warfare 2019, but who knows? Maybe I'm off base here. Maybe what I'm saying makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, but to me, it really does make a ton of sense, and I would love to hear what you guys think down in the comment section below. As always, I'll do my best to keep you guys posted with as much news and as much details about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered as humanly possible, but for right now, that's where we're at. Activision says they don't want to release the game because it's going to split up the player base, whereas the leaks and the rumors are saying the game is done. It's been done for a while, which is why it actually says copyright 2018 on the Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered game. Apparently, the multiplayer has been done for a very long time, but I guess the dev team decided to change up so much about it that they're not sure how the community is going to feel, and that makes literally no sense to me. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider leaving it a like. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.